why we're both kind of nervous about this FaZe squad, because they have really been struggling. Like, I don't know if it's just me that feels this way, because I felt like I was the only person that was hyped when Elise joined FaZe. I thought this was a really good pickup.
Yeah.
But man, it's failed to impress so far. Like, you'd have to say Rops is the best change that we saw last roster mania by far.
Yeah, it's that really did work out the other way. Here we go, no delay. We're into the action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's FaZe versus paiN, and we are off to the races. They're not checking their right, and there is a player down here in Elise. Oh, he's been found out a little bit early, perhaps, and now he's fighting for his life. Brokey is dead. No backup is coming, and he is going to get shut down. I mean, yeah, he had to hit a bunch of headshots to even get close to it. It's Carrigan who's also adopted this interesting view model. We'll see if he's going to be able to do anything with it. 3 USPs left on that CT side. The bomb is going to be planted, and 4 long as well. There's only 1 player back there, but it is NQC with a P250 right now down in the pit, so it's going to be a very hard defuse, and before they can even get close to it, they're going to have to get a bunch of kills. It's Rain to get the first one, but I doubt it's going to be more than that.
The rest of his team have all been divided and conquered. Elise, a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It felt like he survived a long-ass time, but just prolonged the torture and pain and suffering, which is now being put down. Laid to the sword, and first blood claimed by paiN. And yeah, maybe that's the problem for Carrigan. You know, he's gone for that sort of Quake view model, but whereas Bigazera has it left-handed, he's got it right-handed. That's why he got beat by his opposite IGL in that fight. Maybe he needs to switch to left-handed after all.
Listen, there is so much superstition about view models and game sensitivity and, right, you know, resolution. So, like, why? Like, all we've done is add even another variable into that. Why not? I still, there's, you know, in 1.6 you could actually remove the gun model altogether. But Valve have taken it away from us. They've stolen it. Hot draw 0 was the command. It doesn't exist anymore.
Demo's going to be in for a flurry of frags if he just stays in position. But Davideus maybe steals this away from under his nose. Demo wants to go for that kill. He wants to pad those stats, get his confidence built up early here against FaZe. Some legendary players on the opposite side of the server, one of which is Rain. But USP in hand, surely not long for this world. And if it wasn't bad enough already, Bigazera is flanking around the back. He's living on borrowed time, and it will collect. paiN Gaming off to a 2-0. Was an eco, can't get too carried away, but FaZe need to pick things up quick.
I mean, we've just seen what can happen, and
right, yeah.
You know, just to reiterate, for those of you who missed the Aurora game yesterday, it was really scary. And I'll even say this, paiN had a slow start to that game, but once they started to really ramp up, it was really impressive. So don't count them out yet. Bigazera, apart from the, you know, tactical side, which I think is impressive, he's also a really good fragger. He's a good, you know, in-game leader in that sense too. And obviously got Davideus, Snow's out there, so just a lot more firepower than maybe people expect. NQC, I still think he's, you know, weirdly there aren't that many great Brazilian AWPers at the moment. So I can't understand why that is, and it's actually one of the big, in my opinion, one of the big challenges for the region. But I think NQC is pretty high up there, and maybe a little bit underrated at times. So hopefully he can show us that he's got what it takes here to bring them to a victory. 3rd round here, and we've got the first rifles coming up for FaZe, so make good use of them. It's Brokey being assaulted already at the A bomb site, and a nice flash from his teammates. So much damage, but finally a kill as well that comes through. I was going to say, they're waiting to actually get a frag on the board, and they're going to get 2 in return there for paiN Gaming, so not necessarily too bad at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like if Brokey gets that cleaner, like basically the round just unravels for paiN Gaming, but he took way too long to take the first kill down, ran out of bullets. That's one of the downsides of the A1S over the A4. Now Frozen has to try and use his weapon to fend off the rest of the T's, and Bigazera with a resounding no. They pick up the rifles, but they're laid back to rest once more. Snow getting hype, and paiN getting a 3-0 lead.
I think you're absolutely honest. The fact that took just a little bit too long, it's a little delay. It allows for the Molotov to come in. His teammates trying to run in to save him, but instead they go down as well, which is kind of a classic scenario in the CT side. Sometimes you've got to make a pretty tough choice about whether or not you're trying to save your teammates or if you just let them die and hope to get some, you know, some better refrags instead. But in this particular case, it looked like it did backfire a little bit against them. So One HE was already been used, and then a couple of flashbangs there for Rain. But that's about all they have. So it looks like they might try and push down Catwalk at some point and maybe be flashed in by Rain. Not a bad idea.
Oh, I like this, that they're trying to also encircle from the side and flank and hit multiple areas at the same time. So far, so good, though. Brokey on the receiving end of Big Azera's AK. He was looking promising just for a moment. But paiN Gaming able to pick up the slack and use their superior weaponry accordingly. And now FaZe have got to try and back away. Carrigan has been baited into assuming this would be a B hit. The box still residing in middle. Rain needs to win this fight, and he does. Stands his ground and delivers. Down to 46 HP, and now paiN have the information. Know where one of the two remaining CTs reside, but because of so much mid-presence earlier, they may very well assume that one of these two CTs did head off to the B site, and so therefore, they're looking to hit A long.
I like the fact that they're spending the time right now. Still got 40 seconds. They can definitely make it up long with enough time to plant the bomb and everything else, so they're not rushing into anything crazy. And they get staying grouped up. The only downside here is that there is a chance that Rain or somebody else could sneak into the middle to find one of those weapons, and obviously that will equalize things a bit. There we go. And he picks up a Molotov as well, and that's actually significant. There is no more smokes on the paiN side, so with 18 seconds left, in theory, Rain could win this round by just throwing the right Molotov at the right time and stopping the bomb plant. You can see they're running that clock very low. There comes the Molotov right on top, and Demo, he's going to have to run away. There's no space for it. 5 seconds left, and he can't plant the bomb any longer. It's devastating.
Oh, Andy, you nailed it. You nailed it. Are you sure you can't see the future? You should be a multi-billionaire. Molotov down, round over. And you can see the panic as well set in, right? It's like, it's hot, get me out of here. But it was covering the entire site. There was no way he could get the plant in.
Yeah, I've decided to use my powers for Counter-Strike instead, you know? Could have been a millionaire, but went the other way. No regrets. No regrets. Oh my god. That is wild. It's the fact that it's a Molotov and not an incendiary actually makes a difference too, because an incendiary, he could have run to the front of the bomb site and tried to plant and hope that someone would have covered him or something like that. But the fact that it's a Molotov makes all the difference in the world. Wow, what a wild ride. 3-1. FaZe, they don't have a lot of money, obviously, you know, going into the next round, right? It cost them a lot, but they win the round. They're going to be just fine. They've got the AWP back on Brokey. Let's see if they can build something.
Yeah, that's the key, right? Like, you get success once in a round that you probably should have lost out on, but can you hit consistency? Because you've got such a fragile, frail economy on the CT side. Even, you know, a bit of egg on the face of paiN and a bit of embarrassment aside, if they come out and win this round, that'll be a thing in the distant past. Like, they won't care about that previous one, because they'll have everything going in their favor. So FaZe have got to make paiN respect their CT side. So far, it's been pretty straightforward. The bulk of the CT is actually making maneuvers over on the B site, and no one is watching mid for the time being. There is a window of opportunity here for paiN, but of course, they don't know this vital information, so they're taking their sweet time.
Not a lot of pushes coming in, but Carrigan is somewhat deep on long, and that means they're basically saying, let's hope this is going to be a B split. If it is, we're going to have 3 people there. If it is Catwalk instead, we're going to have Brokey there. So I actually like this calculation from FaZe. It makes sense. You can understand how this defense is going to end up working out if it does. And they've guessed right. They actually have the right intel for it. Let's see if the defense will hold. We're down to 16 seconds. A 3-man defense. They need to get the kills right now, paiN, or it's going to be too late once again. I think they're running out of time here. 8 seconds now. Elysian in the corner. Fantastic spray. The headshots are coming through. And he's found a quad kill. And nobody is expecting for that third person to be there. And they just didn't have the time to take the fight either. So well done. FaZe come out on top.
An insult to injury as well. NQZ's like, it's fine, guys. I'll save the AWP at the end. And Carrigan just comes and executes him. I'm not sure if that was after time or not. It could have actually been even worse. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why you look at a player like Elysian, you see him down in like some pretty poor stats since joining FaZe. And it's really concerning because he is such a damn good player. One of the best riflers on the planet, easily, when he's feeling it. And I talked about consistency. FaZe have done it. They string together 2 rounds, and they put paiN on their back foot. They have to eco.
Right, there's Brokey. Good shot. I think you mentioned Brokey in the pre-game. You're talking about consistency and all the rest of it. I mean, I think it's a totally fair thing to bring up. And It's so frustrating because obviously when Brokey is good and when he's in his zone, he does things to the game that almost nobody else does. And it's so much fun to watch, but there definitely are the other moments where it feels like it does cost the team quite a bit. So it's been true pretty much forever. It's hard to really know if the criticism is is it justified? Is it, would you take that risk if you were the guy making the choices for who's on the team? I really don't know, because I've seen rounds where Roki is the only person that can sort of bring them out of a round, and he does, wins a wild 1 versus 3 that somehow requires 2 no-scopes or whatever. That's a Roki round. But what about the rest of the time,
Yeah, he's like that, one of those X-Factor players, but he's a bit of a loose cannon at the same time. So you never quite know what you're going to get with him. When he pops off, though, there's very few players on the planet that can go toe-to-toe with him. Frozen, meanwhile, has already expended more than half that magazine, and it's going to get punished. Snow peeks round the corner, will be traded out by a Liege, though. And NQZ, try as he may to get up on Catwalk, has been sent packing. So FaZe, from a 0-3 deficit, have tied us up to 3-3. But there's going to be AKs coming around into this next round, so they can't take their eyes off the prize.
Okay, good stuff for FaZe though. Stabilizing the game early on. Apogee showed us earlier, if you want to take down a stronger opponent, it's pretty good to to go on a bit of a big run at the beginning, and paiN certainly tried to do that, but credit to FaZe for not allowing it too much further. Smoke is down and they're running into lower dark. Now that is going to be called out for paiN. They're going to be aware that there could be somebody here. Question is, how will they deal with it? There's also a player on Catwalk from Brokey, so their backs are being covered right now by that AWP, and they're going to want to push straight in here. Nice hit, and there's a push from upper dark as well. FaZe, that's aggression on 3 different levels. It's into lower darks, it's on Catwalk, and then it's into upper dark from the V-bomb side, and paiN were not ready for it. This is a bit of a dream for me. One of the reasons I don't like Dust2 generally is that there are so few teams that have the balls to do this kind of stuff, but FaZe definitely did.
Yeah, proactivity is so key. And because it's rare, it really catches the T's off guard. Brokey probably will feel like he should have hit that shot. 2-player advantage will alleviate that pressure a little bit. Fully flashed, but Davideus still connects the headshot all the same. And now there's a bit of a gap opening up that paiN can try and exploit, try and expunge through on this CT side defense. They've got Brokey up on the little pitch, trying to peer down with his AWP. The bomb now getting retrieved. 40 seconds is going to eat up a lot of the clock, though, for NQZ to get back over and join his teammates on long. But that seems to be their final destination. They will do or die out on this long side. Or perhaps not, Anders. They're changing it up. They're going back to middle again.
How many rounds have we had so far where we're down to no time at all? But by the time they get here, again, there's no flaws can happen right now. If they lose even 1 player in transition, I think the round is almost over already. Davide is the one to go down. Smoke goes up on top. We're talking about 14 seconds. 1 more player in the bomb side, and Carrigan, oh, he just had to stay alive, but Demo takes him down instead. The Molotov nearly canceling the round again, but this time it doesn't spread the full distance, and somehow paiN get the bomb plant. If Carrigan crouches, it's FaZe winning it by default. There's nothing that paiN could have done, but that straight headshot to kill him is absolutely monstrous. NQC now, a bit of risk here, does miss the shot, and Frozen, has he slipped the net? He's thinking he might have dived under the radar. They don't know about this. He's up close, picking up the kit now. He knows that one of them is by Gandalf, but can he guess where the other one is? Wallbang is pretty good. It takes a lot of bullets, but he gets the job done. And now it's on Demo, 17 years old, to try and clutch this against FaZe, and he swings wide. It's exactly the right idea. Unfortunately, he ran in to the Norwegian mountain god that is Rain.
Yeah, and it turns out that mountain gods make great bodyguards as well, Anders, because he held the line like a true beast. Kept his teammate alive to go for that full defuse, but I think at the same time, FaZe are like relieved they've won the round. They're also asking themselves, guys, this was a 2v4. Yeah. How are we even getting into a position where we're nearly losing that round? That's disgusting. Like you said, if Carrigan just keeps his head down, they win the round by default because there's not enough time for him to get on the site and deal with him accordingly. You can see the frustration kind of creeping in when he realized maybe he just didn't have a good read at the time. He was so focused on the task at hand, but whichever way you spin it, FaZe taking the lead for the first time here in this best of 3.
It's pretty scrappy to begin with. I don't disagree. That is the kind of... I mean, We had the same criticism for MongolZ when they were playing against Apogee just now. If you watched that game, there were so many rounds where MongolZ had the lead, they had the man advantage, and they ended up throwing it away, not because of, you know, necessarily anything crazy, just failing the basic parts of playing Counter-Strike. Set up some crossfires, don't fight if there's only 10 seconds left. Like, these are the kind of things that we expect out of these tier 1 teams, so when you see them fall short on that, usually a sign that there's something about the dynamic in the team that's not quite working out the way that you'd want. Can't really afford that. Nice shot from Brokey, though. Going to be taking care of Biguzira. Does go wide here, which again is one of those big risk kind of plays where you could end up going down. But again, it's also very much in Brokey's wheelhouse to double down on this kind of aggression. And sometimes that's where you allow for a team to get back into it. This time, though, it's Demo. A little bit shocked by the fact that he was still at that corner. And now 5 versus 3, looking pretty good. Good tracking mid-air. And again, when it works, it looks beautiful.
That was a beautiful shot. That was exquisite. He goes back in. His bloodlust's not satiated. He decides, listen, guys, give me the ace. Go 1 by 1 into me. Frozen scumbags that away, but they don't care about that. Some great shots. Shorts against an eco. It's mainly that third tracking shot mid-air. A thing of beauty. And FaZe extend their lead now. That is 5 rounds on the bounce without any kind of retaliation. And that is why we're going to get our first tactical timeout. 5 rounds in a row. Alarm bells beginning to sound in the distance. And paiN want to make sure that they cut this one short as fast as possible.
FaZe have really done such an amazing job at taking away many of the tactical platforms that you really need on the T side. Most importantly, if you can't control catwalk on this map, the playbook is so close to what you really can do on the T side. Now, still, if you get the long spawns, you can try and go out there and control long, and that's perfectly fine. But if you don't get the long spawn, at some point you are going to need to default out and take the catwalk position. Whether you want to use it for anything or not is completely irrelevant. The CTs just can't know whether or not you're there or not, because if they know, then they pretty much have a good read on what's going on. And I think FaZe have done a remarkable job at stopping that from happening and making it very uncomfortable. Now, this time, it is going to be the long spawn. Brokey is so ready, though. Davide is blown up already, and this time he is going to fall a little bit further back. So paiN, they don't have to commit to it, but uncomfortable position right now. They're on the rest of the map just making sure that nobody else from FaZe is pushing up, but all this is going to do is cost them a lot of time, and they're not going to learn that much either.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that FaZe were able to get that pick from Brokey while flashed, but it has to pull back, it means that they're going to have a very good read of the possibility of one or multiple players being out here on long. So there's no reason for them to over-rotate. And have a look at Elish. He's pushing up through middle. So much information being gathered here, plus the opportunity to just cut away any Ts that remain. Decides better of it, but that intel is worth its weight in gold. There's still a minute left, but he's under no pressure to leave this premises right now. So paiN's situation is so bad.
The smoke that they threw for the cross just now landed behind Brokey, so he knows that they're not pushing up long. Now, the reason they throw the crossing smoke early on the T side is to try and bait out utility from FaZe, but they don't need to throw any utility FaZe. They know that no one's coming long. Now they're going to do it again. Brokey's still going to be in front of it here, so we'll see if it covers him. Last time it didn't. He could just stand here. This time, all right, a little bit better, but still, he's able to see them coming. And now look at the utility on FaZe. They should really never lose this round. Just off of grenades alone, they have so much to work with. There's the first grenade. We're down to 20 seconds. They got one more and Frozen if he can get here in time. It's Elise to get the headshot on Biguzira. And again, the clock is running incredibly low here. paiN, they've left nothing to chance now. 10 seconds. That bomb plant has to be flawless at this stage. Oh, they're jumping and shooting at Snow with the headshot. And it's the grenade from Frozen. Finally landing right on top of him. So close round, all things considered, but FaZe, I think they had the read the whole time.
Exactly. They had full control over the information war between the two of them. And that's allowed by the opening pick. But I think this is also a point that harkens back to something you said earlier with that wrap into tunnels. That so few teams on the CT side are willing to be proactive on Dust2. They're very reactive. They're absorbing the pressure. They're absorbing the punishment. How many teams would get an opening pick on long and then just sit there on the site and do nothing? Instead, FaZe take the leash. They push him out. They throw that smoke you mentioned before as well. They get full control and they know every step of the way roughly where paiN are coming in. Really good round from FaZe.
Here we go. No delay on this one, Vince. They're going to be going right into it. I don't actually hate the idea, but once again, FaZe are beyond prepared. They had 3 people there. They had already the grenades down. paiN were hoping that this was going to be one of those, 1B, 1 mid, 3A kind of defense, which is pretty common. And then they just want to trade out that shot at the B bomb side and get the bomb plant. Didn't happen. FaZe. This is one of the best CT sides I've seen in a very long time. And like I said, I'm almost hate watching Dust2 most of the time when I'm watching it, really at any level, just because all I'm watching really is sort of the same sort of gambles on the CT side. I think C side Dust2 is fine. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening there. But for the CT sides, I just find it to be generally quite disappointing. But FaZe, they're the rescue. They're saving Dust2 for me.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, like, that's 6 rounds in a row, but one of the rounds they picked up, the first one was basically down to Rain throwing a god Molotov that just kept them in the game, and then since that point, there's only been 1 bomb plant in 6 rounds. So this has been just really solid. 7 rounds, pardon me now. Really solid CT sides, and it feels like they're in their comfort zone. Like, paiN, they're just getting choked out. They're claustrophobic out and long. They can't seem to get any kind of control. And as you even mentioned it yourself, how many rounds have gone down to 20 seconds, 15 seconds left on the clock?
Yeah.
That goes to show how well FaZe have been punishing them.
This time again, they actually had a push into lower dark. I think it was Frozen who was in there for a bit, or maybe it was Leash. But either way, they've run in there, they run back again, and even if there's no fight and no damage taken from that, it is just the paranoia for paiN of having to look and spending time, checking every single corner. You're just not sure. All you see is that there was a smoke up, and someone could have been there. Going to be clearing catwalk in a very risky way. He didn't have the normal Molotov that you would throw to the corner there, so instead he just has to swing it behind a flashbang, which easily can get you killed. Look at all the little flashes in the left corner. That's all the grenades that are being held by FaZe. If you hold it for more than X amount of seconds, the HUD will tell you, which indicates that, they're just waiting. They're just waiting for the right cue. They're so primed. If anything happens, they can slow it down again. They can throw the flashes and the Molotovs. It's Davideus, though, taking down Brokey. Maybe this is an opening. They need it right now, Vince. It's 30 seconds left.
Oh, Karrigan with the Orc, though. Nearly gets 3. NQZ's been peppered down to just 8 HP, but it does give them a way to push on long, to try and envelop the site. Frags are plenty. Snow and Davideus both chip in, but now it's down to Frozen. Typically a play wanting these kind of positions, but he's missed his first shots. Can't finish Davideus off and will be punished. And that 7-round killing streak of wins and victories has come to an abrupt end. And even then, if Karrigan picks up that last kill onto NQZ on long, it could have gone the opposite direction.
Oh, the timing is so nuts, isn't it? You're right, though. NQC, so he had the bomb as well, running up long with 10 seconds. I mean, again, it's another one of these rounds where one little thing that goes wrong, and paiN could have easily lost it. They do win it, and they absolutely do win the next one. I think 7 rounds is such a good scoreline right now in the current Dust2 meta that I'm definitely very happy for it. NQC, there to pick off Brokey at the start of the round, but Elish is still pushing up, so he's not going to have any backup here. He's on a one-man mission, trying to see if he can kill this round and win it for his team. They don't know. This is going to be a shock when you're coming out of long. Oh, no. It's Snow. How did he check it? How did he know?
Oh, Elish was looking at T-Spawn as well. It must be so frustrating. I'd love to see the kill cam on that one from his perspective. Yeah, he's looking at T-Spawn. He anticipated some passivity back there for the last round. It wouldn't go beyond the realms of reason. They might pick up a secondary AWP and try and utilize it from spawn and then trade to the AK. Meanwhile, though, Big Azera lays down the law and secures the A side. So it seems like 7 rounds may be a solid outcome for FaZe, but that's maybe all they get here. As NQZ puts his AWP to use again, he has gone full circle after the opening pick onto Brokey down in the catwalk. Karrigan now tries to stand his ground against 5 Fighters' resilience. And although he sprays in, NQZ is there to pick him up. 7-5 the score. A very solid half, all things considered, for FaZe and Brokey in particular. Give credit where it's due. He was bossing paiN most of those rounds.
What a first half. A bit of a recovery towards the end. For the Brazilian side, it's not all doom and gloom, but it's a long ways away still. I am really impressed by FaZe. That CT side looking good. My memories of watching FaZe on that CT side just aren't necessarily that good. I feel like in the past, some of their aggression weirdly hasn't actually been much in the middle or lower dark. It's been pushing long, where you sometimes see Rain or Karrigan go for sort of those mid-round long pushes when they're on CT side. And that's rolling the dice a lot. on. Like, it can work, but it's so easy to either be too early or too late when your whole round is based on that. So whatever they were doing here, FaZe, I'm really a big fan. I think that's really cool. Nicely done. Second half coming up. Nothing has been decided yet. We really don't know how this is going to be playing out. There's every chance that paiN can bounce back, and we'll see if FaZe, you know, if they have what it takes to start well on the T side. It's coming up in a couple of seconds here.
This is it. Yeah, Lee's looking at T-spawn. Gets checked. And the thing is, they did know that previously, even though Elite didn't get a kill or wasn't fragged in the process, when he last pushed up middle with that smoke, he threw a Molotov up onto middle. So they knew that they at least had that kind of aggression in previous rounds. Either way, second half coming at you right now, and it's a complete and utter disaster to kick things off for the side of paiN. They've lost 2 players already, and BigAzera under heavy duress. A bit of team damage tossed in the mix as well, as BigAzera picks up 2 and gives his team a chance.
Really great. Jiggle Peaks coming out there, just throwing bullets around the corner. But he did what he needed to, and they still have a shot at winning this one. Nice done from Snow. He's going to be ready with the dualies on the other side. Roki gets his head taken clean off, and it leaves the captain. Carrigan already out into trouble here, trying to find a kill. It's Davideus to bring him down instead, and Carrigan just, he wanted to play a little bit of a mind game there, but they just weren't taking any of it. Well done on the paiN side. They needed this pistol round a lot, and I think this game is once again wide open. So, yeah, now it's up to FaZe to show us that they've got what it takes, so they can really sort of double and triple down on this one. Because I think paiN are going to have a decent shot right now at bringing it back. And there's also no bomb path, so that's a big benefit, I think, to the paiN side.
Might be some really slick kills towards the end from Snow and Davideus, but that really is BigAzera. Him being able to take 2 players down from the car completely stemmed the bleeding, allowed them to alleviate that pressure and get the rotations through that activated Snow and Davideus to have their impact. So take a bow there, BigAzera. You could see all the players trying to look towards him and hype him up and drop those fist bumps. And like you said, at 7-5 half, it's by no means over. And without that aforementioned bomb plant, well, FaZe have some deals, a scout, pretty much nothing else. So paiN will be feeling very confident right now, but don't give your lives away, Davideus. Do not repeat that. Down to 41, NQZ, too hot to handle, pulls the plug and gets out of there.
I share your concern in him trying to repeat that. You just do hate to see it. Oh, Rain. Okay, through the smoke. Wine. BigAzera on the other side, though. Fantastic work. Does pick up 3. Rain trying to come through. It's once again the captain of the team. 4 kills for him. He's doing everything. And I'm not surprised. There are so many paiN games where it is BigAzera who's trying to drag them across the line. Like, he's doing so much for the squad. It's one of the reasons I think it's such a charming story, you know. He's got like a really well-rounded personality. He's got the tactics, he's got the fragging. Big fan.
Yeah, and that was kind of the classic narrative as well with paiN for the longest time. It was like BigAzera is their IGL, their star player. He basically is carrying everyone on his back. And that's kind of changed quite a bit with Davideus, Snow coming in, NQZ as well. But he is the man that we were just discussing, and of course the caster curse is real because Elite just removed his head. We're sorry, BigAzera. We shouldn't hype you up anymore.
It does happen, but maybe a chance for Davideus. Certainly a bit of a surprise to Brokey. He's got napping there, but unfortunately he's just so sandwiched in, he couldn't really escape. Still, it's not all bad. 3 versus 3. This NQC managed to find a kill at the same time. Now, they've pretty much given up on the B bomb side right now. Snow is hanging around outside, but FaZe, just as much as paiN were playing it slow, we know that FaZe are another team that they're not afraid of making mid-rounds. In fact, you know, to the extent that you want to have a conversation about, you know, who are the best in-game leaders of all time, you would say Carrigan, one of his enormous strengths is his ability to read the game mid-game. You know, like, it's fine to be able to call, you know, strats out of spawn and have, you know, good execution and all the rest of it, but Carrigan's understanding of what's happening in the middle of a round is, you know, almost unparalleled, if not completely unparalleled.
And I think it's where a lot of IGLs have kind of come undone, and they've been kind of seen through. I think Twist was really struggling with that issue before Shui joined. You know, his mid-round calling on T sides was really lacking. They had no plan B or plan C. Now, speaking of which, still 25 seconds left. Frozen's about to get gift-wrapped a free frag. Demo, wrong place at the wrong time. Understandably, trying to get aggressive up on Catwalk and fend off this bomb plant, but his death basically puts an end to this round. Unlikely that paiN will want to go in any further considering their economy. save, or maybe I spoke too soon because they got 2 kills out of nowhere. Suddenly, Legion in a 1-on-2.
I don't think they were going for. I think you're absolutely right, because I think they just wanted the AK there on Catwalk, but now NQC got a kill as well, and now they're going to feel like, you know what, actually, let's go for it. They've got the kit as well on Snow, but they're holding on, and NQC caught out in the open. It is a Counter-Strike classic, Vince. You've already, I think, made the call to save, and then you get 1 kill, and you're like, ooh, maybe we do it after all, and then you lose everything. I understand why they did it, but I am pretty sure you were correct the first time that they probably didn't. It's just because he has the MP9, he's going to go check Catwalk to try and find an AK. Which is worth it, but then when he gets the kill and NQC gets a kill, they're like, wait a minute, now we're in a 2 versus 1.
Yeah, it's about weighing up the risk versus reward. And as soon as they're in a 2v1, it's like, okay, the risk is worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a double side to that one, right? Like, you end up losing, and now your economy is straight up in the toilet. You got a 5-7 for Big Azera, a couple of FAMASs tossed in there, lack of kits and lack of utility. And this is a golden opportunity for FaZe now to really start to extend their lead on the T side. Take nothing for granted. They can still get this one done, but FaZe will know that they are just on the periphery of breaking paiN's backs and really getting a solid lead on this map. This is a pressure cooker round.
Such a close game right now. But yeah, with the money being what it is on paiN's side here, it's so important that they manage to do something with this. FaZe going through all the basics. I mentioned this in the first half, but you must control Catwalk on this T side. Otherwise, there's a whole long list of executes that are no longer possible. Does seem like they are going to just go for it here. They're not really set up for any kind of a mid or B push, but even if you were, Catwalk positions were pretty damn important. Smoke goes up from the CT side, trying to slow them down. I actually love this. It's NQC on the other side with the FAMAS, but they're jumping out at all sides. They're just diving out of the smoke in 10 different directions, and I don't think he has any idea where to look. He ends up going down, and they're going to lose that player in CT spawn. Demo, not bad for the spray, but again, they're just all over it. Snow, the last one left at a 1 versus 3. And shouldn't have much of a chance here to do anything. We'll see if he wants to upgrade this, save the FAMAS. I don't think winning the round is an option any longer.
Yeah, exactly. You could see that tantalizing M4A1S just in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
He's like, should I go and do it? But no, Snow, greed is not always good. You don't have the Midas touch this time around. You just got to save that FAMAS. And to be fair, the FAMAS now in a pretty good spot. Decent rifle. You can still do a lot of damage with it. Rain needs to tread lightly on that 1 HP, but as you highlighted, spot on. FaZe have that 9-7 lead.
I want to highlight something that I don't understand why all teams don't do this, because I was spending way too much time looking through demos on Dust2, and I found like 5 or 6 different teams that they have so there's a smoke you can throw when you're running long from the T side, from T spawn. You throw it into the corner by the bigger box in the double doors, and then basically that smoke stops anyone from throwing an incendiary from the CT side, which means if you want to try and take that peak, the incendiary lands and it just gets clipped by the smoke, and then you're just still sat in the doorway waiting for the AWP. I'm pretty sure from memory, FaZe is one of the teams that know how to throw that smoke, so I'm sort of curious if we're going to see that. And it's a really cool way to catch somebody, because if you're on the CT side, you're throwing in the incendiary, you think that's it, like, you know, I'm going to be able to swing, and they can't really hold that position, and then they're just sort of sat there. So, you know, holding it out now, you guys can watch for it later. I'll pick it up again if we actually see it. For now, they didn't have any incendiaries anyway, paiN. They don't have any money really to work with, just the one from us.
And the risk of being run down by this Tech 9, the Molotov, though, is going to buy them up a little bit of time. A second one also tossed in. So once the first is cleared, it's going to allow Brokey to clear his angles and take full control over the T side of Catwalk. And considering how much time is still left on the clock, that is a good spot to dethrone early on. Now, they're going to have a good read of the situation, I'm sure with Carrigan, obviously, under helm. He's going to know the economy is weak, so he's going to anticipate some kind of stack coming in more than likely. That's why they're being very tentative and clearing all their angles out on long. The bomb is here. So if Frozen goes down awkwardly, there is a way forward. The flash is good, but the follow-up damage not quite there. But now, all the information should be gathered. They saw multiple players on long. Good shot from Brokey. Eats a ton of damage in the process, but the 2-player advantage now looking good. Have to mention, though, a couple players are low on FaZe, but that doesn't seem to matter because they continue to litter the floor with bodies and take that 10-7 lead.
It's the small thing sometimes, but Frozen not re-peeking that long fight, even if he has AK versus USPs, and he probably wins it anyway, it's a really small thing, but I just appreciate that. He calls it into, you said it like, he calls it into teammates. They know where everybody is. Brokey, even he manages to control himself for the minute and just kind of falls back. And it's just it's very good fundamental for FaZe. You love to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Just tempering themselves, not getting carried away. Focusing on the task at hand. Sure, Frozen could have wide swung, and maybe on his day he gets 3 or 4 kills, he boosts up his stats, but it's about the team. And the team right now is leading. They're in a pretty commanding spot. paiN Gaming, onto one of their last lifelines here on their CT side. It will spiral out of control if they lose this. They'll be back into an eco-4 spy territory. And so they stack 2 players up here in Catwalk, but they've completely given up long.
I think they're going to be pushing this, though. I can't imagine they're just going to want to stack, you know, essentially 3 people. Surely at some point, Demo is going to be throwing a flash around the corner, and they're going to go check for it. The only question is, you know, the timing for that. Yeah, so here we go. Flash being primed. You can't just stay 3 people here. You have to do something with it. And not even really peeking the corner. By the way, he doesn't have another flashbang. So it's a bit awkward at the moment, I've got to be honest. Still, if they find out that there's nobody on Catwalk, it's not bad information. It should give them some room to maybe defend the actual bomb site with, but they're pushing deeper into middle, not knowing that the entire FaZe Clan, well, no, more or less, are just around the corner from this one. 35 seconds, and here's the crossing smoke. This is going to be a bit of chaos here for Demo.
May actually feel like he has to push this and try and get kills. He feels desperate. The spray, though, is off. It could have been 2, but instead it's 1. And now Carrigan doubles up. Davideus and NQZ splattered as FaZe successfully pillaged the A site. And Snow can do little but go save his M4. It was looking a bit tentative for a few moments, but one FaZe fully committed. It was only ever going one way.
Honestly, that flashbang that Demo was peeking on was sick, but like you said, if the spray is not really connecting, it's a really frustrating experience because you can see that there are 3 Ts that are jumping, you know, hands in front of their eyes. They just can't see a thing out there, and you just cannot find the kills. But really, more than anything else for paiN, it's kind of tough because I like the fact that they wanted to go aggressive on Catwalk. It's a good idea. Again, they're looking for information. It just sucks that the information they get doesn't do anything for them. All they can say is, there's nobody Catwalk, and it doesn't feel like there's anyone mid, but there could be, right? For all they know, they could be by Xbox. Like, you have no way of checking everything. And by the time you realize it's coming up long, then you kind of concede that space, and then Rain takes it up and shoots you in the back. So, very, very unfortunate. And this is part of the pattern of, in my opinion, the problem that people fall into on the CT side in modern-day Dust2 is that they have no idea where the attack is coming. So you end up in this weird position where you're, you know, rolling the dice a little bit. But paiN did try something here. They're in some trouble, though. 11-7. Second timeout's being called here. What can they do?
If I'm on paiN right now, I may be calling some kind of a B push because their economy's not great. They're going to have an MP9. They're constantly losing mid and long. So maybe they go for one of those kind of aggressive plays that you highlighted when FaZe went for it in tunnels, but they just push through B or middle. It can often, obviously for Dust2, it often depends on spawns as well, of course. That's always like the elephant in the room. Do you get good spawns to push through on B quickly? Are you basically unable to really make the most of your weaponry? Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case here, though. In actual fact, they're not even crossing to the B site yet, and it's FaZe that are perching up early on.
Yeah, they're ready. Although FaZe are making sure to check. Is there anyone in lower dark at the moment? They're going to be up on the catwalk. And Harry crouching his way through. It's a bit awkward right here. Snow, very close to getting a double. The grenade throws it in. Rain will somehow survive. I thought that was going to connect with him. And Big Osira goes down at the same time. Brokey pushing forward, and even he couldn't land that flick. I actually, in my brain, I thought he might just kill NQC here because that would be a Brokey kind of round. But this wasn't one of them, and now we've got 1 minute and 10 seconds. They're going to be trying to go for long, which Demo, is he going to spot it here? He does see just the top of the head, so at least they know that they're retreating. But Rainey says, you know what, I'm going to stick around and wait for it here. Demo's not quite in position. It's going to be Rain instead to get it. I understand what Demo was trying to do, right? He needs to do something. He needs to do something proactive, but now they're a man down, and there's still 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of desperation that Davideus was playing on A alone, but he was actually caught out of position momentarily. So he wanted to try and rummage around the back, and it's like, okay, we'll give up long control, but then we'll have the backstab in effect. But there was still 55 seconds left, and the veteran of Rain, you always know he's got a good read of the situation. The second he heard a footstep, it was over. Now, they are low on health. They're going to be walking up. They're not giving this away just yet with the smokes. Now they've been tossed out. Davideus has been flashed out of position as well as he sees them start to spill onto the site. The weakened Rain, the bullet sponge, the meat shield to take the first damage, allowing his team to get the bomb plant down. And now in this 2-on-2, Frozen and Elige, two power players standing toe-to-toe with Davideus and NQZ.
Yeah, this battle is going to be everything here. Elige, he's been playing very well. 17 kills. Davideus, though, nice crosshair placement. He was ready for that fight there, and now it's down to just Frozen escaping the AWP. He knows that Davideus is right around the corner. It's awkward. It's a headshot as he runs through the flames. NQC just completely broken down, and now goes for the fight. He taps it away. Davideus is dead and gone, and Frozen with a massive clutch, standing in the Molotov there to get a job done, but it was worth it.
Yeah, and you might say, like, why is he peeking? The bomb wasn't planted for Frozen. He had no kit. He had to go for the peek. Yeah. He had a full 10-second defuse ahead of him, so he felt compelled to tickle it, try and get Frozen back out to the open just in time. But Frozen playing it to perfection. And this was the moment where I started to fear the worst. As soon as they got the opening pick on Long and this 2v2, it looked like it may go the way of paiN. Instead, though, it's 5 map points. Fortunate paiN have enough money to invest in a full-on purchase, but so many of these rounds have got away from them so quickly. Very passive setup for FaZe. They only have Rain in tunnels, everybody else on the T side of mid and long respectively.
Yeah, you're right. Slow default here. Excruciating for paiN that have to utility. Don't want to be doing that early on. Smoke goes up, and they actually just dive right through. I like that play from Kerrigan. Are they going to be checking the pit, though? Demo's down here. They definitely will. The old-fashioned way, just burn him out of there. This is brutal. Not even a round. They've won every single fight across the map. It's down to Davideus. Brokey in the middle, exploding them. And that round is done before paiN even had a word to have said there. Crazy scenes, and FaZe to win the opening map here in the series. I must say, in a very convincing fashion. That's one of the better Dust2s I've seen in a long time from almost any team.
Oh, no doubt.
Pistol first. It's going to be the second map coming up here in the best of 3. Last of the day here for the channel. So let's make it a good one. I would love to see Anubis if we can get there, but if I had to make a guess, I would say FaZe win this one.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that sentiment purely off the basis of just how strong they looked, and it was a real team effort. It wasn't just one player carrying. It looked like Brokey was going to go like classic Brokey mode and just basically drop 20-30 kills, but it really was Elige and Frozen that second half that were picking up clutches and really making paiN work for every single kill. But here we go, FaZe on the T side, kicking things off with Rain peeking up on middle with his Glock, but it's a very passive setup for paiN. 3 players setting up with a crossfire on pit and the site respectively.
That's a lot of flashbang utility for paiN. I'm kind of curious how this is going to be playing. So there might be a flash for NQC once he takes his first engagement. He's already spotted them. No grenades. Okay, there we go. Maybe a little bit late. There was a flashbang for it. I don't mind that he doesn't overcommit. He's got the information. Unfortunately, what do you do with it right now? If you're on the B bomb site, do you try and push out to take them? Like, what's the play here? Big Uzira going to be hiding in the corner, but they look like they're going to check it. Kerrigan absolutely aware. It might not make a difference here. The dualies at least going to get the 1 kill. It does leave Snow, and he's already been discovered. He's already been tagged up as well. Hunting him relentlessly. Brokey around the corner with a burst fire. It's going to be Rain instead. But why not? Unfortunately, already NQC has showed up, so the bomb being attempted here. Can he sneak in to execute? No, they're going to get the plant at the very least.
He only has 4 bullets left as well, though. He has to be very careful. He's got Davideus there to try and help him out, but NQZ's lost his head. And in doing so, paiN may have lost the round. Now, 2 players exceptionally low. 22 health between Rain and Brokey. Davideus needs to be aiming for heads, and he's connected the first one, but the timing here is going to be rough. Positions unknown. Has to go forward into no man's land through the trenches, but he's got a shovel of his own, and he digs Elige deep. Smoke down, going to look for the full defuse, but Rain has seen this play out one too many times and puts those Julies down range and gets FaZe their first pistol round in this best of 3.
absolutely chaotic round. I think the play, you could see there was a long moment where Big Zero was wondering if he was going to play on the church side or if he wanted to play in that little cubby there. And I think the problem with playing that cubby area is that Snow can't help him out, right? Like they put themselves in a position where those two people can't really talk and connect with each other. So that's a bit unfortunate, but overall, very close round, very interesting stuff. Nicely called from FaZe, I will say. And looks like they're going to be throwing Frozen with the MAC-10. Well, Rogue and Harrigan have some too, so yeah, just put the MAC-10s out there. I love everything about it. Get the information, find out what's out there. Now, paiN actually have bought quite aggressively into it, including the Scout on NQC. So, I don't know, an open round. Anything could really happen here.
Yeah, Spire Razor's edge, and I think what's been dulled down just a tad is that smoke. And it's ruined the party for FaZe, but they may not have realized that they're walking into a bit of a precarious position. Now that they've slowed things down, though, and Big Air is backing away, this effectively leaves Snow alone. They've thought better of that decision. Now, Big Air is going to stay around. The nade blows open the smoke, and Carrigan's going to get hot and heavy with his MAC-10. Tons of bullets, enough to take out Big Air. And although Snow may have got the hit and run with the Deagle, the site now under control for FaZe.
Super nicely done. Just using the utility, they baited out some of the early grenades that paiN did have. I think they had one smoke basically to try and cover. And FaZe just kind of, you know, made them throw it early, and then they recommit into it. It's pretty standard stuff, but at the same time, it works. For paiN, save the guns. It's a bit boring, but it's definitely the better choice. Maybe you can fight a bit in the next one. So, yeah, 2-0 in favor of FaZe here, and some pretty common Inferno type stuff. Now, Vince, they've widened up the banana position that we're currently fighting for here. Do you have any strong feelings about, does that change make any difference to you, or like, is it good, is it bad?
I think it makes it a bit more interesting in terms of trying to retake or kind of take control over Banana, but I don't think it really reinvents the wheel that much, you know? I think it's a small quality of life improvement. I don't think it's going to make the map play, like, fundamentally different. I just think in those nitty-gritty kind of positions where you're looking to try and clear out the close angles late on in the round, that's where it may become a little bit more prevalent, like noticing the change, but overall, I kind of feel the same way about it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's a small change is probably good. I was surprised to see that many people were very critical, because I feel like it's the thing that people have been asking for since they made Inferno like a long time ago. When people said, oh, this version feels so constricted, and everyone wanted it to be wider, and now they made it wider, and people are complaining. I, you know, feel bad for Valve, you know. But overall, I like it. I don't think it's necessarily a massive change, but I just think I just don't like it when it feels like you're fighting and you're constantly bumping into things. It feels like, you know. Yeah. So I do enjoy it a little bit more. Couple of early losses here on the side of paiN Gaming. Not too surprising. Again, it was a bit of a bit of a round here where they kind of extend the MP9 and Scout buy into the next one. Demo finding himself very much alone in his position, and Carrigan getting the better timing against him there. It's going to be a clean round.
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit there, is like bumping into each other, and I think that actually kind of ruined a lot of grenade usage in the past. Like, yeah, a lot of the time when you run up Banana, you might accidentally collide into a teammate, and suddenly your HE goes out of nowhere and ends up landing on your teammate's feet, or a Molotov or a smoke gets kind of messed up. So I think that's where you're going to notice like the biggest changes. But yeah, I guess if you Valve, you just can't win, right?
Definitely not. Which is funny. It's part of being Valve, I suppose. I think some of the criticism that was that I saw out there from known fraud Maui Snake, he said that basically it's made it more T-sided, because I mean, obviously the CT utility is going to be less efficient if there's a much wider passage to, you know, especially with the incendiary grenades, I guess. I think that's a good point, all things considered, even if Maui was the one to bring it up. But I don't know if it has a giant impact. I guess we'll see. But I understand the logic anyway. So yeah, I'm just I don't typically come up with like a lot of strong predictions for map changes, because it's hard to know how it plays out over a long time. But I like the idea of not being so boxed in on Inferno at any rate. That's my personal feeling on it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fair assessment. And I guess we'll have to see if Maui is proven correct or not, because now we get a chance to watch Inferno a bunch in this tournament and see if it's going to lend itself a little bit more to T-aggression. Thus far, FaZe have put it to a 3-0 lead. Don't think it's been anything to do with Banana, though, to be fair. But we will get a chance to have a look at this one. There is Still the SMG in play, the MAC-10.
He grenaded himself. He grenaded his teammate.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's rough. It's not necessarily the end of the world, but a bit of a funny way to get the round started. For paiN, it's their map pick. You really, really want to. Sorry, it's FaZe map pick, but still, you really want to see. You really want to see paiN come out swinging in these early rounds. NQC, point blank range with the AWP. This is not necessarily a bad idea, but it's also dangerous if you miss the shot here. Could be under a lot of pressure. He's not going to miss at all. Goes for a second, drops Elige. It is picture perfect. Comes back and is ready to fight. Frozen really wants to. He's going to take him on. Still a minute on the clock here, but this is beautiful work so far. Unfortunately, the Betclic has actually made his way past here. Somehow it's NQC with one more kill, and now Frozen is on his own.
Oh, hold on. As far as plants into potential clutches go, this is very possible. That smoke is going to give him a little bit of a shield. He's going to try and push forward. Oh, if he got the kill on Snow clean, there was maybe a way into that round for Frozen. At least the post plant, though, and a couple of kills on top of it is going to allow FaZe's economy to tick forward just a little bit. But NQZ with an exquisite round of his own, a couple of kills there with the AWP, laying down the law. And are able to pick up some AKs on top of it. So paiN now arriving on Inferno.
Super, super important. Well done for NQC. And that is, for people who, I would even say, back in the day, we spent so much time talking about AWP versus AWP, so in, a long time ago, we'd say, like, ooh, what about NQC versus Brokey? I think especially like an earlier generation of casters who are pretty guilty of assuming that all AWP battles are going to be against each other, but this is exactly why you buy the AWP, is to try and stop the rifles from having the kind of runway that they would have had otherwise. Because it's really hard if you're swinging a corner like that, and it's not a fight, you just die instantly. So that's what the AWP is for, even on a map like Inferno a lot of the time. Quick trade at the top of Banana here, and now Snow going to be trying to see if he could turn his way in. Doesn't see anyone immediately. Davides goes down next. Rain with an important kill there, and now a man advantage for FaZe, and Snow, if he dies, the round is done immediately. He should be traded out, and he will be. I don't hate the idea, but yeah, it's a good job that Elige was there, and that puts so much pressure. If you're paiN here, I almost feel like, well, actually, NQC's alone, so maybe you could justify that he's just going to be playing it with the AWP on his own, but at the same time, you almost want to group up and try and push somewhere.
I love this from Demo, though. He's pushing aggressively through Banana. He's getting a lot of information right now. So if FaZe take too long, that could activate Demo into a backstab. There's still two players. If he gets around this corner sooner rather than later, there'll be easy pickings, but I have just diverted past. The traffic, the green lights are punched in, and our FaZe are closing the gap, closing the noose. But the same could be said for the Hangman himself with Demo. What a shot from NQZ, but he won't live to tell the tale. Has been dealt with accordingly, swiftly, but Demo's going to be very close. Up in the grill now of FaZe. Will they anticipate this peak? The bomb plant goes down, but they may anticipate that he's going to be on somewhere like the Archer's side, Library side. Gets the drop onto Rain, spins around, but Elige is too fast on the draw. So close for paiN Gaming.
It really is. I think you exactly said it right. And again, he's only 17. We haven't really seen him at lands like this, but that's a big job to lift right there. And he got very close. He did all the right moves. He was there before they realized. They didn't really suspect it at all. And honestly, if they didn't have the Molotov to push NQC out of this position, there's a really good chance that NQC can get that same kill, but stay alive. And then Demo's flank is suddenly worth way more. So everything from a philosophical point of view was really good for paiN. Unfortunately, they just, they just fell short in that round. And for FaZe, even losing a lot in this one, they're still going to be okay. 4-1 in their favor, and paiN Gaming with a couple of M4s here, but they're starting to lag behind a little bit. This is a concerning start if you're on the paiN side.
Yeah, exactly. You never really feel confident on the CT side at any point on Inferno. Utility so important. Priority over firepower a lot of the time, and they find themselves now with the very precarious predicament of trying to hold the line with two M4s. Having to back away here as well, so FaZe already a minute still on the clock, and they've taken mid-control, they've taken Boiler, they're starting to attain their dominance and evict out of the apps as well. paiN in trouble. They're going to need some fast headshots from Davideus' Deagle, it feels like, if they're going to hold on to this one. But the bomb is still out on Banana's side. It's giving FaZe options. They could still hit B if they should choose.
I was about to say, the fact that the bomb is back there, it shows you how much mid-rounding Carrigan feels comfortable with. Because wherever they find the connection, wherever they find the information that they need, they're going to be able to do pretty much whatever they want, you know, all the way up until the end. It's the Mac 10 going down on the B bomb site. Absolutely nobody cares about that. Because the response is to just go and kill the A defense. Doesn't matter that you lost that SMG over there. And they're going to be able to win the round here. It's just a question of whether or not there's anything more that paiN can do to pick up another rifle or do a little bit more damage. It will be a 5-1 lead here in favor of FaZe. And they're going to be stealing that Mac 10 right back. So very, very good stuff. And this is the power of having great mid-rounding. Is you really never know what's going to happen. And one of the reasons it's hard for paiN to know is that FaZe haven't made up their minds yet. They don't know either until they get that last bit of info.
I think the other concerning part as well, I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if paiN call a tactical timeout now. They're 5-1 behind. They're going to have rifles. I'd like to see them call one. And then what do they do with it, though? Because they've tried to probe through on apps. They've tried to probe through on Banana, and nothing's really worked out that well. They'll be feeling this sense of dread that's just starting to sweep over the entire roster. Like, they can get an AWP. I think bigAZ has like $5,000. NQZ can trade weapons with him if they want to prioritize the AWP over utility. But what do they do with this buy?
Wait,
nothing's really worked out for them yet.
I think this is where, again, maybe the lack of experience or the overall lack of confidence on the map becomes a really big issue. But there are things you could do, I think, on the CT side of this map. There are some cool pushes you could do in the second mid where you get flashed over by your teammates. You could even push down, you know, the main part of middle with the AWP to fight second mid like we see. Actually, that's what he's doing right now in QC. So fair play. That's a nice attempt, and I think you need something like that. He didn't hit the shot when they were turning the corner, but it's one of those things that you need something to try and get a bit of an edge, try and get in front of FaZe. And I mean, I don't hate it. The problem with the banana position is that it's such a big risk when you're on the CT side. But they are going for it, and more power to them. Frozen's getting taken down. I think this is the answer. Try to see if you can get a bit of a lead early on and make it more uncomfortable for FaZe, because the default for FaZe and the mid-rounding is what wins them games.
Got you, so try and take that potential away from them and bully them early round, perhaps, is the winning formula. Well, so far they've got the success they were looking for. Sure, bigAZ took some bullets through the smoke, but he's still fine. The lack of utility over on the B side may be a problem. There's only a flash between the two of them, unless they've dropped a couple on the ground. 40 seconds coming up.
Speaking of smokes, by the way, I think that smoke that Elise is in was a failed one for the library or Little Pit side, so a little bit funny. Might not be the end of the world here. They're going to try and recommit to it now. 30 seconds, and Davideus, beautiful headshot. NQC going to be taking down Elise as well. So Carrigan do anything at all, he's going to get the first headshot here. Obviously, he cannot win the round. It's only 20 seconds, and he's completely boxed in. Davideus will find another third headshot for the round here. And they needed something like this. This is really important. They survive with 4 people, and they actually feel like the defense is doing something reasonable there. Don't know if the smoke necessarily made a big difference. It might have been. Like, the failed smoke actually might have stopped Leash from turning the corner, but regardless, not going to take away from Davideus here. This is really smart.
Yeah, he made the most of that smoke, didn't he? Hopping up onto the little balcony on the railings, spraying in for the double. That's going to be good for confidence. They also kept 4 players alive, so weapons traded in 2 AK-47s now in the collective arsenal of paiN. It is looking pretty bleak, and the first kill going against Carrigan. Tries to just brute force his way up on the banana and say, no, you can't have it this time, but bigAZ is there and more than capable of sending him away. Now he's going to go back in for more. Flashbang through, bigAZ gets another kill, switches to the sidearm and nearly triples up. But he's done his damage, he's done his job.
Tripling down the aggression, like we said. Snow here, okay, they line up for him. A bit scary, and actually Demo was behind him, so even if Snow got traded out there, it probably would have been absolutely fine. But a nice victory, and then the flash in for the follow-up there. You're right, he very nearly got 3 of them. I do love it.
Starting to just get themselves back into this, though, right? And there's like one round at a time. Karrigan's disappointed because he knows if he gets that opening pick against bigazera, it opens the floodgates. Instead, it's an eco.
Yeah, and you know, we were asking for some rifle rounds from paiN. That's what we said was missing on Dust2. They've got to win some here, and they're starting to put that together a little bit more. So, not too disappointed at the moment. NQC seems to be hitting some important shots on Inferno, and you know, we already mentioned why the AWPs are important against the rifles, but the other part of it is also just being very mobile and hard to read. Oh my god, he just got stuck on the wall. I can't even explain how that could even happen. Demo gets the kill on the Frozen here, but Elige ready? Can he get the surprise? He can. Takes down bigazera. What a mess of a round, and it all starts with just the fact that the AWP got so flashed and he just got lost on the map. Karrigan's still going to be going down here, but I don't know. I hate everything about that.
There's a proper scrappy round. 3 kills with Glocks is kind of unacceptable, but it's a bit of a subdued celebration. I was going to say, like, Karrigan in his own right back in the day was quite the AWPer. So I was looking forward to some vintage Karrigan, but instead he just got sprayed down through the smoke. No chance of getting anything further done, but that big lead they had has now been brought back down to just the 1. 5-4 now the score with FaZe with their full-on AK-47s, but paiN have made a real case for their CT half now.
It's being built round by round. They're starting to pick up a bit of momentum, which they absolutely need. Again, backs to the wall, having lost the opening map, and into this one. They're fighting to try and get onto Anubis. It's going to be Frozen, clean entry. bigazera blown up at the start. Again, they were looking to keep bigazera at the corner so that he could take a bit of a fight and maybe get flashed in for a secondary. It's a very similar idea. But now that he's dead, it does put a lot of pressure. And look at the paiN rotation. They're basically gambling the entire round on this. I would even say for NQC, if this is going to happen, just move NQC to Arch so that he can save the AWP. No reason to leave NQC there, because if they come a good chance he's going to die. And even if he gets 2 kills and dies, they're still going to lose the round. So I'd rather NQC actually just tries to play for himself as opposed to this. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's find out. We're going to get that test right now. 50 seconds.
Just patiently waiting. Nothing to give away that FaZe are on the brink of pushing him down, looking to try and plunder this site. If they slow peek it, NQC's going to get at least 1, and he's able to fade out of there as well. The hit and run is good, but Rain, the lurk through on apps, is just able to capitalize on a couple of pixels. And so at this stage, paiN have the decision. Do we actually want to just go ahead and save this? It's such a difficult site to retake. You've got a ton of weaponry and utility and value in these 3 players. I think you just have to tap out for the 6-4.
Yeah, I would agree. I tried to warn him, Vince. Telepathically, I told NQC, don't play that corner. Obviously, what he's hoping for is the fact that he's going to get 2 kills in the middle, and then, you know, with the chance to run back. But I'm pretty sure even if he got 2 kills, Rain still kills him there, and then it's just, you know, it's not that similar. It's a 3 versus 3 round with the bomb down. I still don't think paiN can go for it. So for me, for NQC to play that corner would be the equivalent of saying, I'm going to try and get 3 AWP kills here, and then my team can retake it. That is, I don't think, ever going to happen. So I'd just play Arch, and if you get a kill, then you can try and retake it 4 versus 3, and that's more doable. Anyway, just my opinion. Nicely done from FaZe, though. You know, again, good job with Rain, because they actually waited. This is a small detail, right? But they were in position to swing against NQC in the middle for quite a while, but they actually waited for Rain to be there in the apartments, and those are the really small things that make sure that you secure those kind of rounds.
Yeah, I'm trying to think as well, like, why NQC wouldn't have moved across the Arch, and the only thing I can think of is that because his teammates rotated so early, he may have been nervous about a potential timing backstab from apps while he moved into Arch. That's the only thing I can think of, and he felt a bit more comfortable to hold his ground. He's had a couple of really nice double kills and, like, flick moments here, so confidence was probably high as well. But first kill, not for the first time, going the way of paiN. They've actually doubled up as well into Banana. Karrigan and Frozen have been dealt with accordingly. And this time, paiN really looking to try and take a stranglehold over this round. Elige is maybe the ace up the sleeve. Moving in, completely uncontested. They had no idea. Drops Davideus, and there's the spray on the drive-by for a second. He's given his team a chance.
Grenade on top as well, actually putting a lot of pressure. It's Rain with a headshot coming through the smoke as Demo gets blown up. And what a tough position here for paiN. They have a little bit of money in the bank, but the truth is, you're so far away from the site, they're already making the call. They're not going to try and get close to this. You're right. Elige saving that round very, very quickly. Snow had the first 2 kills, and I'm pretty sure the first one was on Carrigan. It was by the barrels. So that's on top of the half wall that Snow's getting that one, and he's ready for the repeat coming in. Really sick start, but then it just still completely blows up for them. What a shock, and it's going to give FaZe a pretty decent lead here. 7-4, and going into the last round of the half. I mean, I think already 7 rounds on the T side. I don't know about you, Vince, but I'd be pretty happy. I'd be exactly as happy as Carrigan is there.
Perfect timing on that one. Massive grin, massive smile. It's good to see FaZe having a good time, because let's be honest, this last few months has been pretty rough for them.
Stopping break.
paiN is trying to deal with the fact that they've got the 2 opening picks, and then Elige just activates. He arrives into this round. Rain helping him out, and like you said, at that point, it was a done deal.
Yeah, the bald eagle. They can't keep him back. At 11-5, he was great on the first one. He hasn't been hit by those EU tariffs yet, Vince. He's playing great.
Oh man. Well, they're paying a bold tariff or something, I guess.
I'm sure that is going to happen soon, you know.
Well, they say it's a bold buff, right? So it should be taxed.
Yeah, that you don't say it out loud, Vince. It could happen.
Too late now.
Don't put those memes into the world. I'm just saying. We are living in a bit of a hellscape at the moment, but at least we've got Counter-Strike, and FaZe are playing well, so it's nice to forget about that. Brokey, by the way, is 1-7, which on another day, maybe you want to criticize that more, but because they're winning, maybe it doesn't matter so much. But it is kind of the up and down of watching Brokey play Counter-Strike, and this is, you know, he was fine, not just fine, he was really good on the first map, so he's taking a bit of a break.
No, exactly. That's one of the kind of embarrassment of riches that FaZe have, and why it's so confusing, why they're just not really living up to the potential that many people expect from them. When you have like Frozen, Elige, Brokey, and then even Rain and Carrigan on the team, it's like there's so many players that can just take over a map and basically make it theirs. And like I said, Brokey posted up over a 1.5 rating in the first game. He was 100 ADR with the AWP. Basically, that first half was all him. So the fact that he's having a bit of an off game here, but you have Elige popping off in 11 kills, basically single-handedly winning that last round, speaks testaments to what FaZe have in store.
2-man defense, 14 seconds left. They need to get such clean entries. FaZe, they might have left this a little bit too late. They're actually planting, in spite of the fact they haven't cleared the bomb side. It's crazy, and it's going to work as well. Carrigan, the captain of the team, breaks that defense, and for paiN now, a very tough retake ahead of them, and they have no choice here. It's the last round of the half, so they have to go for it. You'll see they have a little bit of utility, but unfortunately not the incendiaries and the smokes that you want, and it's not going to be easy either. Brokey getting a chance to maybe feast a little bit. He's going to get the first one. Leg shot on the second. Will count it as half a kill for him. Demo goes down last, and an 8-4 first half finish in favor of FaZe. The fact that they planted without even clearing the bomb side is pretty bold, but I love it.
Man, Carrigan's taking the gloves off, man. He's not pulling his punches anymore. He's up to 10 frags, a 4K in that round. 2 huge entry frags. Past that plant in the smoke, and it was all Big Azera early on in this half. He was winning out all those trades and duels on Banana. And they just got broken down over time. 8 rounds on the T side. Feels like it might be a bridge too far here on the side of paiN.
I don't disagree. This is a really, really big ask, and I actually am really shocked. Like I said, paiN yesterday very nearly won that match against Aurora, which think of how impressive that is. And somehow, you know, against a wounded FaZe that hadn't really been impressing us that much. It's not just the FaZe, again, like I said, it was not just that they lost to Astralis. It's the fact that sort of the manner in which they did it that felt awkward to me. They won Dust2 FaZe in overtime, but then they lost 13-4 on Ancient and 13-8 on Train. So overall, like, not really the best showing for FaZe in that game. but absolutely ready to play. They look like a brand new team here today. And yeah, I mean, I can understand what the smiles are all about. This is what we want to see.
A happy FaZe is a terrifying FaZe to go up against, that's for sure. And maybe sometimes push the self-destruct button just a little bit.
Here we go. Quick out of paiN. They're not going to slow this one down. They keep rushing and they find Frozen. Not ready to fight. Brokey here with a pistol. Being pushed back, but he's going to get a chance to reload. Backup is there. Karrigan. They've managed to absorb that attack into the archway. And somehow they're finding the kills as well. The bomb is now lost over there. They're down in the pit, but none of that matters. The bomb is all the way towards CT spawn. Elige does go down, and Brokey trying to keep his head low as he can. Not low enough for Demo. And suddenly it's a 2 versus 2. What a weird round this is.
As you can see, they have the bomb as well, and rain from above is going to strike. The Thunderbolt comes down. And Rain is looking to try and alleviate the NQZ threat, but he is going to come out second best. 50 seconds left on the clock as well, and this is where Karrigan's in a bit of an awkward spot. Yes, he has the bomb down, but he can't fully commit to just sitting in the middle. At that point, it's a coin flip 50-50, and I think NQZ is just going to take loads of time here and fake as if he's rotating through a middle side. Allow Karrigan to start to have the problem of figuring out, like, now I have 3 angles to contend with, not just 2. NQZ has played this to perfection, but Karrigan is still alert to the presence, and now it's all become unraveled, but it's Karrigan that takes the head clean off regardless. Everything up until that shot, NQZ could not have played better.
Oh, he looked a bit relieved himself, Karrigan. Like he was feeling the stress. You're not wrong. He was out in the open, Karrigan. It's such an uncomfortable position to be in, but it worked out nonetheless here. The first part of this fight, I mean, even the first start here for Karrigan, getting that first kill to really slow it down, that made a massive difference. But paiN very nearly fighting their way back, and then it's just not enough in the end here. FaZe in a great position.
Okay, was happy before, now it's a frown. Guys, come on. Why are you putting me in that position? We should have just locked this round down easily.
Yeah. Not what he wanted, but you know what? Sometimes if you want things done right, you just have to do it yourself, Karrigan. Brokey on a bit of a mission, hunting out. Dash to eventually take him down. Maybe a bit greedy, but ultimately they're going to be absolutely fine. The SMG's feasting on paiN as the T side kind of getting decimated here, but they're going to be ramping up into the next one. We're going to see some rifles coming out, and it has to be such an impressive run right now. It really feels like paiN they're not finding their footing in this match at all.
It's kind of unfortunate for paiN because it feels like we all had this idea in our minds of what FaZe should be and could be, and paiN are now being hit with the reality of, like, they've actually shown up. And there's not much we can do to stop this juggernaut. It's on its tracks, it's picking up pace, it's picking up steam. And when you still have Brokey yet to really get involved in this game, well, there we go. He tees off onto his opposite up. NQZ put in his grave, and Rain's getting aggressive. Missing out on the shot. Brokey's not going to make the most of that one, so it is a clean kill. And paiN do have a way forward.
Karrigan getting right at the edge of the smoke. Now it's up to Brokey, but he is the kind of player you put a lot of pressure on him. He's likely to win some of those fights. Bomb back here for Biguzera. If he had got timed by Frozen, that would have been a very awkward way to play the round. But now it's Elige, as they did lose Brokey at the same time. 1 versus 3, and he is going to get, unfortunately, sideswiped there. Davideus comes into it. Such a critical round for paiN. Yeah, well done overall. Definitely the kind of round that, you know, if you mess with those timings even a little bit, I think especially the Biguzera versus Frozen back there, that's, you know, 1 more second, one way or another, and it could have gone very differently. But well done.
Yeah, keep themselves just about in this, you know. I think that round loss would have basically surmised their doom. It would have pretty much been a one-way ticket to an L. They managed a stay of execution. Oh, so much damage early on, though.
Yeah. That's not comfortable at all. There's actually nobody at B, but... You know, there was a time when FaZe were... They were so good at winning exactly these kind of rounds, you know, where you think, oh, there's no way, they're kind of out of the match, and then suddenly, here's a random round being picked up, and then they're back again. Brokey goes down. So far, so good. It's plenty of time. And been highlighting Big Uzira quite a bit as a leader and everything else. I mean, these are the kind of rounds where you get a chance to show, you know, can you keep the troops together? Can you remember, again, all of the basics? Don't go anywhere alone. Make sure you can trade the frags, use the utility, and try not to walk into any really big stacks here. So, 50 seconds to figure it out.
50 seconds to ponder what their next move is going to be. Meanwhile, Rain is holding the tight angle with that scout. Laid down a bunch of damage earlier. Flick across, not quite there, and Elige loses his head, which just mounts the pressure even more on Rain. He can't dig into his hat full of tricks and pull anything out. Instead, it's going to be him disappearing, and now FaZe, they're going to be conceding for a 6th time. Definitely not the panic button being pushed just yet, but paiN are slowly but surely making a case for themselves on this T side.
Hey, nobody even dies. Not a bad place to start here if you're paiN. I mean, there's probably a lot of things going on in this round, but one of the things that paiN might have been expecting was that there was not just the boost over at B, but the double boost. Because for the last couple of weeks, something that we've been seeing more and more is that when you're on a low buy on the CT side, people will double boost towards CT spawn, and then they will, you know, boost once they're on the boost. I know that sounds complicated, but it's true. And what it means is that when the T's throw even the elevated smoke, you can look over it, like you're basically standing to look way over that smoke, and it can work. It's not a bad idea. So maybe paiN expecting, because I noticed they did throw the elevated smoke twice in that last round from the paiN Gaming side. So it sort of felt like they were trying to say, hey, listen, we might show up. Anyway, it's going to be a bit of a fight here at the top banana position. Great Molotov slowed down, but Frozen is still up in front of them. And even if Elige was sort of fumbling around with some grenades back there, it looks like they've at least won the opening fight. We'll see if NQC can turn it around. He can, but only for a second. And I think they knew that Frozen was low. They weren't aware that Brokey was in the back line.
And because Big Azera was so low, it almost felt like NQZ felt like he had to do everything himself. So he takes the AWP shot, immediately switches to the Deagle, tries to go in again, and he's just easy pickings. Nicely played timing for Rain to just double check, do his due diligence, and he catches a player trying to push onto A site and backstab. And now both players are low here between Frozen and Big Azera. Brokey's pretty close by, though, can quickly flank onto the CT side, but he will not be required. As Frozen takes down Big Azera, dials in an 11th round. A couple of moments there where it felt like maybe paiN could get a stranglehold over Banana, but you called it yourself, the utility was so on point for FaZe, it felt like they could never fully spread their wings and take flight on Banana this round.
Critical lead here. FaZe, how do they stop him right now? paiN Gaming, in terms of kills, it's not like they're even doing that badly. Maybe Demo want a little bit more, but again, he's brand new to this level of Counter-Strike, and actually, all things considered, right? He doesn't seem like he's an anchor around the team. I think it's pretty impressive that he's being slotted right in here, and it's just kind of feels like he's doing a decent job. So, more power to him. But as a team right now, they are falling behind. FaZe 2 rounds away from taking up the whole series. It's going to be an early, pretty deep Banana aggression with 3 people over there. Now, how far do they want to take this? Is it just going to be the rational European Counter-Strike, or is it going to be the Stewie 2K pushing through the smoke kind of Counter-Strike?
Or maybe blessed with that more. Wildcard obviously have got him in the roster right now, so maybe something for us to look forward to.
I'm actually genuinely excited for that. Shout out to Jake. I actually am so happy. One, I think Wildcard is a cool team already, but with Stewie, hell yes. Sign me up. But so far, Frozen is not inspired by any kind of craziness like that. He is just sticking to the plan. Brokey's there behind him with the AWP, so that's an insanely strong defense. With the right smokes, though, maybe paiN can wrap around this arch position and actually attack this A-bomb site. It's not necessarily a bad idea. We'll see if Elige can have any impact. And he's pushing in front of it just to try and make sure that he can help out. But he dies instead with 25 seconds left. This 2-man hold at A is very brittle.
All right. He needs to play the smoke perfectly. Needs the timing. Comes around the corner, nails the head, but Carrigan has fell down, which puts all that pressure on Rain. And David Deus, well, spamming through the smoke, connects the shot onto Rain. And although there's only 8 seconds on the clock, more than enough time for the plant. And more than enough time to secure this round. FaZe's economy, not in great shape. Could do with holding on to both of these weapons. They're going to be setting up for exit frags. But this round is a done deal. They had a chance, but it just slipped away. I thought for a moment Rain was going to do something special there.
Yeah, I mean, especially because at the same time, like you said, Carrigan was sort of lost in the smoke. So if he stays alive for just a little bit longer, and then Carrigan can find his way out. I mean, there wasn't that much time on the clock anyway. There definitely was a couple of ways that could have gone wrong. But in the grand scheme, not bad. 11-7. I'm not convinced yet. I need another round here out of paiN before I could start to believe in the comeback. But the money on FaZe is not that good, so they have that going for them. There is a path. There is a way here, but I just haven't seen any real momentum out of paiN in the series so far. And a timeout been called for FaZe.
I think that's a solid decision, to be fair. Just try and stave off this momentum that you're talking about. Don't allow it to get into that snowball rolling down the hill. Try and cut it off before it really takes shape. Plus, their economy is in a bit of a weird spot right now, so probably trying to get on the same page in terms of, first off, do we force buy? And then secondly, how are we going to juggle around that money to make sure that we squeeze every single bit of utility into our buy as possible? They do also have like a pretty decent lead, so if they want to hold fire here and just play with the AK and AWP, that's still very much a threat. And then basically just pick up some sidearms or maybe a few nades here and there alongside it. Carrigan in disbelief. Was hoping that Rain would dig him out of that ditch, but didn't quite end up happening. And they have decided to kind of sign a bit of a ceasefire here for this round for the most part. FaZe's going to be using those save weapons. It's still very potent, though. That Venom can certainly constrict and finish off paiN if they're not careful. If they walk into Brokey or Frozen, this can quickly become unraveled, but Frozen already taking a ton of damage, dropping down to 30.
This is where, you do want that kind of Brokey that we've been talking about, where, suddenly he does go mental and finds, a good couple of kills, throw in some no-scopes or whatever it is that he does. That can be enough to push them over the edge here. It's Carrigan, unable to get the one deke. Gonna fall back to the next corner. Frozen, like I said, already low, but in the right position, elevated up there, it's possible that he could get a bit of a spray down. Defense is looking, again, pretty weak on this A side of things. It's Carrigan, hoping to get the right timing, but nicely done from Big Zero. Just going to call him out in that corner, saying, I definitely know that you're there. AWP is quite far away, although Brokey's going to put down a smoke and start to run. So actually, might be, if they can survive this for another 5 seconds, that Brokey's going to get a chance to actually get involved in this round. 40 seconds now, as they are trying to wrap around Arch and paiN. They kind of need to go if they want to do it here. AWP is still smoked off for the minute, and yeah, they do push the throttle right at the end before anything bad happens. So good job. Was a bit of a window there where maybe if paiN had slowed it down a bit more, there would have been a bit of a disaster coming.
Oh yeah, especially if a couple of kills were threaded through from FaZe's pistols there. Like if they got a couple of kills through the smoke with that kind of low timing, that really could be a serious issue. And we saw paiN run into that trap, that gauntlet, multiple times over on Dust2. But slow and steady this time does win the round for paiN. And although FaZe do taste defeat one more time, they're able to hold on to the AWP for the time being. And that's a huge bonus and boost to their buy into that next round. Sure, the AK and AWP didn't work this time around, but they're going to get a chance to go again. And this time, all 5 players will be healthy in their investment. Brokey may be tested here, though, because the T's are starting to swarm and swell around the banana side. They're very aware, however, they don't want to give any free AKs across. They don't want to lose any players of their own, so it's going to be a bit of a stalemate at the end. But that deficit now drawn back down to 3. And paiN's starting to catch up with FaZe.
Yeah, in an important way. Didn't think they had it in them. It really felt like paiN were a little bit too far away and just didn't really have the kind of momentum that you'd need to bring this one back. But 11-8, I mean, maybe there is a way still. Money restored once again for FaZe. They're going to have something to work with in this round. And all they need is a couple of good opening kills in this round. We'll see if paiN could find some of their own. Already jousting for some banana control. Stabadeus walking through their own smoke here, just trying to put some pressure on. Elevated on that one. And you know when that smoke lands, there's going to be an incendiary as well landing in front. That's kind of the protocol to clear it out. Oh, but fumbling around with the grenades. Elige going to go down. He was throwing an incendiary back to Frozen. That's not great.
They weren't just reading different pages. They were reading different books there between Frozen and Elige. They, like you said, I think fumble is a very good way of describing what happened. And the repercussions are serious. Like, just as we're talking, this deficit's coming down quicker and quicker with every passing round. The economy is not in good shape here. If FaZe lose this round and don't save many weapons, there is a very good opportunity for paiN to draw us level. So FaZe making these kind of mistakes, especially on Elige, who has got them a couple of big rounds from these individual efforts, that is a problem. However, Rain fully flashed, nearly nails the landing while blinded. But Bigazera pushes forward. Brokey deals with him, but there's only 2 FaZe players left.
Carrigan down to very low bullets as well. He's going to get traded out. NQC not afraid to take the fight. And Brokey, it's definitely not worth it to go for it. He doesn't have the kit either. He is the kind of player that will try, that will give himself a bit of an opportunity, and sometimes the reason it works is because it's so unlikely. Demo pushing on through, and again, look at him take the bait. He's thinking, all right, you're not going to expect for me to do this, so I definitely will. NQC here in the church, almost getting pinned to the wall, but instead, he takes a bullet, and it's going to be a nice round here from NQC, taking down Carrigan to begin with. And Brokey finished off at the end. That's not bad at all. Timeout being called. You could see Neo wants a bit of a conversation, saying, this has gone too far now, boys. We need to find a way to end this. Second timeout used. They have one more left after this one, but FaZe starting to feel the pressure.
I wonder if what factored into Brokey going for that's not just because he is this super aggressive and like combat range AWPer that can make crazy plays out of nothing, but so much time had passed where there was no eyes on A site. He may have been concerned about being flanked from the side as well. Like if he goes back to CT spawn, he kind of anticipates he's probably going to get shut down there, so why not just go for Broke and see if you can try and force your way on the other side. Either way, whichever way you spin it, it is going to be paiN getting us back 11-9 score. This is now 4 rounds in a row and 5 of the last 6 going in favor of paiN. This is beginning to be a bit of a problem. The only 2 rounds that FaZe have won were off the back of the pistol, and they picked up 1 rifle round afterwards. Apart from that, though, it's been pretty one-sided this half.
And now that spiral is being assisted by the economy, obviously. Classic problem when you're on the CT side. Gonna have to sit this one out. Now, they have smokes. There are definitely ways to put a lot of pressure, especially on a team like paiN that have already shown us that they do like playing some of these rounds a bit slowly. They don't mind waiting until there's 30 seconds left to do something. And obviously, if there's only 30 seconds left and there's still 1 more smoke on the CT side, that is a big problem. It's a classic gambit on Inferno as well. Did you try and do this kind of thing? Rain, it's a 5-7 to take down Demo. Not what you're hoping for. And there's nobody there to cover the AK, so they can go pick that up. And again, this is where the smokes become really interesting. Now, Carrigan, unfortunately, has the last smoke on the CT side. I don't know if he knows how to throw it from A to B. Obviously, you can do it if you want to, but it might be too late because it looks like they're just going to be going for it here. So, should be an almost impossible defense, even with the 3rd man rotating in. But let's find out if it actually is FaZe. It would be some classic stuff if they can win around like this one.
Frozen may get the drop. Oh, but he's whiffed his chance. He'll be so bitterly disappointed. Elige now next up to the chopping block. And Davideus lets the axe fly. Carrigan now with his P250 goes the same way, but at least he did taste some success, albeit short-lived. FaZe will not be able to hold the line, even though they had players in good positions. It'll be 11-10 with Rain saving the AK-47. And I was just having a quick look there as well, Anders, because it feels so often that paiN were getting the opening picks, even though they've been at a pretty big deficit for the most part. Bigazera has 7 opening duels in his favor. To put that in perspective, the entirety of FaZe, including this round, have 7 across their entire team. So FaZe are somehow leading, even though they are completely outclassed when it comes to those first picks in each round.
That's hard to explain. That's very much the reverse of what you would be expecting. So that is a very interesting stat. Zero talking the team up, ready to get them back online here. Imagine if they could actually make the comeback from such a deficit. Not their best map by any stretch here on Inferno. But they are clawing their way back into it. 10-11 now. 1 round separating these two teams. Money is looking really good for the paiN side. Obviously not so much for FaZe. They've saved a couple of rounds. They got the AK. They're buying into this one. But every single round they lose at this point is going to have catastrophic consequences for the FaZe side.
Eerily, silence falls upon the battlefield here for both teams as neither squad wants to make that first mistake. The smallest of margins where we saw NQZ have success in that first half. Not so much for Rain, but Brokey's going to finish off the weak and snow. The trades, though, firmly in favor of paiN. And it's Zero once again that answers the call when his team so desperately need it.
You're exactly right. What a beautiful thing for us to be allowed to see the main difference between holding that exact same angle with an AK or with an AWP. That's what the AWPs are there for at least half the time, because Rain wasn't quick enough, but you just can't necessarily spray down somebody in that angle. Great follow-up as well from Zero, and I think just a call as well, out of spawn call to go for that kind of an attack out of the A apartments. And honestly, this is even a round where there actually are more players on the A bomb side than you would normally expect. It's more common for there to only be, 2 or maybe even 1 at the start of the round, just because there's so much focus on B early on for the CT side. So in spite of running into the 3-man setup, they still blow it wide open. They equalize the game back to 11-11. FaZe get to save a couple of rifles here, and that's something to play with. But paiN, they're marching their way back. We could see a third map on Anubis as well. That, I don't know. That would surprise me at this stage. It looked to me like paiN was pretty beat up at one stage here.
Yeah, at one point it was, what, like 11-6? I want to say the scoreline was. It was incredibly one-sided. And our paiN have won 5 rounds back-to-back. 7 of the last 8. In cruise control, and FaZe just can't seem to get anything done. And it was kind of epitomized by that round where Elise just caught fumbling grenades up on Banana. It's like they're caught in 2 minds. And this is where they were just so confident, so smooth, so clinical over on Dust2, but it's been anything but that here on Inferno.
I mean, this is the truth, though. For paiN, trying to make this comeback, all it takes is one good opening round here for FaZe. One round where you get a couple of good headshots on Banana, or you find a bit of a pick-off with Brokey at the start of it with an AWP, and suddenly you're right back on track to try and win the whole thing. So paiN, focus has got to remain. You can't really slip up now. You're not going to be too aggressive on that Banana position early on, just saying, you know what, if you want it, you can have it, but we're going to settle for not taking too much damage at the beginning. A lot of grenades being exchanged back and forth. But again, no fight really for paiN.
Close and personal on the side of Frozen. The bullet whizzes past the eyes of Elise and catches Frozen up on Banana. And in doing so, that death has forced Elise away. He knows he's the last bastion of hope. He can't go down. And although another shot comes out, it's a warning this time. A one that Elise will heed, but not for long. He's pushing back through again on Banana. He's going to get up close behind that smoke.
I love it. The reason he's doing it is because it allows for this 3-man setup at the A-bomb site. If he falls back, then very likely Carrigan will have to fall a little bit further away and try and be closer to the B-bomb site. So he's giving them the space to have the 3-man defense. It's really smart. And obviously go for a quick flank as well, potentially, but we'll see. Last time, this 3-man defense did not hold even at all, so can it do it this time? Mid-air shot as Rain is picking them apart, exploding their heads with that M4, and finally they bring him down. Brokey, the last on the site, and he's overwhelmed. Demo just hunting for him, and Elise, even though he's quick on the rotate, it might not be quick enough. A bit of a almost like a replay of the first half clutch here. We'll see if Elise can do it instead. He's very close to it. Demo down in the pit. It's NQC caught by surprise, and now the old versus the young here. Elise fighting for it. Straight headshot, schooling him. And it's going to be the clutch coming through. You could see Frozen almost can't breathe in that one, but it will be FaZe to pick it up.
Do not understate how sick that clutch was from Elige. When he sees the grenade go up and over from pit, he immediately goes to peek on the side. Because typically when a player is throwing up a flashbang or a smoke, you're going to then peek into the angle where the flash is going to affect. You're not going to expect it to be in that particular angle. And Elige made the absolute most of that momentary read and allowed him to tee off in this way. That is so clinical from Elige, and that's why he's one of the best players in the world when he's on point.
10-year gap between those two players. Gotta be difficult if you're Demo down in the pit to hold your nerve, knowing you're up against one of the best gamers in the world. And this time it was too much. 12-11. Such a close round. Imagine if paiN can't complete the comeback. They've done an amazing job in this second half, but now, again, they need to steel their minds and get back into it. A lot of damage on Banana. They're actually getting grenaded down so low. No casualties, but look at the health that's left. From this, Vince, from these kind of health scores, you have to find a way to say, okay, guys, it's not a big deal that 3 of us are practically dead. We're going to win the round anyway.
God, this game's been a banger, hasn't it? It's not been the cleanest of Counter-Strike, but we've been blessed with 2 really good series today. And it may not be done just yet. Yes, the health bars are looking bleak on paiN. Make no mistake. It's going to be difficult for them to traverse forward without losing a player through the smoke. But they've deployed it all the same. Just shy of 45 seconds now on the timer. And paiN puffing their chests out, trying to get mid-control, force a rotation into play. But they don't have much in terms of a plan B. They've already committed up middle.
Yeah. The only thing is there's not much of an A defense. I don't know why they're so far back. They also don't have a lot of utility on FaZe. One clean entry, honestly, they can win the round almost immediately here. This is a very light setup. Carrigan, though, an important shot. He goes down, and Brokey there to follow it up. We're down to 17 seconds. The clock is running out here. paiN, they need to go, and there's already a flank coming in. Elige, he did it once before. He's looking to do it again. Rain to pick up the first, and he will get it done. NQC on the ground. Big Ozira, no time. He cannot win the round. FaZe stopping the comeback and defeating paiN in a 2-0 fashion. This is exactly the kind of FaZe we love to see.
It wasn't as clinical or clean as the first map. You can see that Kara going some deep breaths, exhaling, and letting that relief set in, but they still get the job done. And we saw glimpses